Okay, what is up? What it do? How you guys doing? This is Eddie Gray. Welcome to In the Mix with Eddie Gray. I figured I'd start off today by playing a little something for you guys. Hope you all are well, depending on where you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. So one of the things you can do when you get started with a music session, you want to get yourself in the right place, you want to get yourself in the right mood, go ahead and play something. You know, if guitar is your instrument, that's great. You can also play piano, whatever the case may be. But here's a little something for you guys. Yeah, cool. All right, so again, welcome to In the Mix. I am your host with the most. Super stoked to be here. Just things are great, you know, even in the midst of a lot of noise, in the midst of just a lot of information. Things are great. Just stoked, you know, on so many levels. Just grateful to be here. Just today, I was asked to do a review on a microphone. It's called Tissy, and so I'll be doing that. Check that out on the channel at some point. This microphone's really cool because it's very affordable. It's only like $35 more or less, and just feel blessed to be able to do music, all things music. I think I've mentioned on the channel that recently, I moved, bought a house. We're building a new studio. I mean, these are things that I have been dreaming about for a very long time. Feel so blessed to be able to upgrade my current setup here, have my dream setup, and I just want to make sure to keep giving back and keep contributing. Why? Because I remember a time when I needed the information, when I was starving for it, when it would have made a difference in my life. And so, as you guys know, I'm constantly studying. I'm constantly on the path, and recently something completely unexpected happened. I just want to share it with you before we get into our session. And by the way, if I didn't make it clear, this is session 3, live loops for all my Logic Pro users. And this could still benefit anybody using FL or Ableton or what have you. The only thing is, today we're going to talk about composition and performance recording. So once you have the live loops session set up, then how can you take that information, move it over to the tracks area? And so we'll be talking about arrangement tricks. We're going to be talking about the difference between a limiter, an add limiter, and a maximizer. So we'll cover that as well. But yeah, back to my story really quick. So, we're very fortunate to be doing this. We're very fortunate to be living in a time where we can do this, and I'm very cognizant of it. It's something that is very apparent to me when I come to the studio, when I'm driving, when I'm hanging out with my daughter, kicking it with friends, whatever the scenario is. I'm always brought back to this concept that we're very fortunate to be here. I'm pitching music all the time, working with various TV shows, talked to the president of a major publisher this week. Just so many opportunities. I'm so present to the fact that anybody can do it, can meet their goals. We have small goals, we have big goals in life, and sometimes you just need a little bit of a push. You need a good community, some good people around you. And I'm very aware that if you have that if you have the right influence, the right environment, that perhaps that can be the difference maker. You have one special person in your life or group that helps you out and just makes you feel like, you know what, I can do it. I can do this, And so anyway, that's why I do this. We're here every Monday and Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Central Time. Yeah, that's pretty much it on my end. If you guys have any questions, hit me up on the chat. I'm actually getting the channel set up in such a way where I'll be able to see the comments live, because usually I just check it out on my phone. So we'll get to that as well. Let me see if I could find this link. All right, cool. Besides that, let's get into it, and looking forward to spending some time with you guys. Again, my name is Eddie Gray. Go ahead and check out my body of work. I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. I realize there's a lot of people out there who are very talented, and they're ready to blow up. They're ready to take it to the next level. And I want to champion you. I want to champion those of you that want to fight. I want to champion those of you that want to stay up late, that want to wake up early, that want to get down and finally realize and manifest their dreams. So that's my current aim, my mission, my purpose, and I'm feeling pretty lit about it. I got to be honest. All right, cool. Just looking for the link here. You know what? I'll grab it in a second. Let me see if I can pull. Oh, here it is. Sweet. All right, cool. So if you have any questions, please hit me up on the chat. Totally happy to help in whatever regards, any questions we have on Logic. I do use Ableton a little bit, so that could be something we get into as well. But yeah, Logic is definitely my forte. If you guys didn't know, I developed the curriculum for Learnquest on Logic Pro, so I know this program. I'm very, very deep in it. In fact, I just created a course called Learning Live Loops, and it's currently exclusively on the Graphy app. We're about to distribute it worldwide, so that's something that I do want to show you as well. But for now, let's go ahead and get into the sesh, and then we'll talk details. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much for this. Let's get it. Let's go. All right. So we're currently looking at Logic, and it's a good idea to kind of go over your work. And this is where we ended up last time. You might have noticed that I cut out all the extra stuff that we had. There's no need to use it anymore. If you want to follow along with what we've been doing, this is the third part in a series of 3 sessions. And I showed you a unique workflow to come up with new ideas. So here's the track as it stands right now. You ready? Here we go. Came out pretty good. Okay, cool. So you can see how I was able to perform that in real time. And the only reason I was able to do that is simply because I understand the mechanics of live loops. So it now becomes more about the performance. It now becomes more about the expression. And that's what we're all after, really, right? I mean, that's why we do what we do. That's why we chase this dream, right? Because it makes us feel something. It makes us feel elated. Now, I came to the conclusion a couple years ago. I've only been doing this for 7 years. My anniversary is November 21st with music production. And to be clear, when I say this, I mean a producer, a composer, a creative, where I've fully invested myself as a being. I've spent my natural life, every waking hour, pursuing this. And I came to the conclusion a couple years back that well, let me clear up one thing before I say that. I've been doing music my whole life since I was a kid, playing guitar, learning how to sing, understanding harmony and all the various aspects of music production. I'm not some like savant. I don't know everything, but I know what I know, and I know how to get to where you want to get to in the music world. So that being said, I came to the conclusion that this world is fourfold, okay? Number one, you got to know the DAW. All right, you got to know Ableton, you got to know FL, you got to know Logic, you got to know Pro Tools, you got to know Reaper, you got to know Luna, you got to know which one else is out there. I'm missing one. Which one is it? I forgot. All right, cool. So that's the first one, right? And then mixing and mastering is obviously the next component. And it's super important to know how to treat the audio, to treat the MIDI. Super important to learn how to get the music to jump out of the speakers. Super important to learn how to mix it, how to master it so that it's competitive, so that it's real, so that it's authentic. I just mastered one of my buddies, somebody that collaborate with his track, and I was able to take the nuances, the details of it, and really extract it out and bring it out. And that's another art form. You got the DAW, you got mixing and mastering, and then another component is the business aspect, right? Even if you're just strict producer or you're a beat maker, you want to sell your beats, there's a legitimate business world that needs to be tackled. And this is not something that you can do kind of on the side, spend 1 hour every weekend, spend 2 hours. This is something that you need to dive deep into, fully fledged, your head in it, your mind in it, your brain in it, your heart in it, in order to get yourself to that next level. So see, there we have 3 components. And finally, the last one that not a lot of people talk about is peak performance. how can I fight longer? How can I stay up longer? How can I fight more? Not so that I can beat somebody else. I mean, competition is a part of life, but really it's about you. It's about the competition that is laid upon you because it's something that you want to do, right? No one's making you do this. You feel called to do it. You're the one that hears the beck and call. I need this, this is part of me. Recently, I talked about it at hfmusicacademy.com. Like, I was moving last week. I'm building a new music studio, and I realized, like, I don't want to be away from music. It was the first time in over 6-7 years that I had been away from music any longer than 2 days, and I made a realization over the weekend, because I hadn't done music Saturday and Sunday, that I never want to do that again. So long as I live, and of course, things change, right? The waters drift in, waters drift out. But just in general, like, there are people out there that need music in their beings. I know it. I speak to them every day. I mentor a lot of them. I coach a lot of them. I help get them from point A to point Z. And these are commonalities among us, what I like to call the modern creative, people that want to win in today's market. And this is the first time in history, literally, that the playground, the playing field is even. Like, if you want to make it, now's the time more than ever to fully invest yourself, to fully invest your being. And if you do it now, you will have no regrets later. The worst thing that can befall anybody, and you guys know this already, the worst thing that can befall anybody is I didn't do it. I said I was going to do it. I wanted to do it. I had every intention, but it just never came to be. And then, of course, we can look at why. Was it a lack of goals? Was it a lack of focus? Was it the tools? Was it a lack of knowledge? What was it? Was it bad influences? What was it? Was it being in the wrong place at the wrong time? What was it? You have to be able to self-assess and get yourself back on the path. Okay? All right. So with all that being said, I want to show you guys some amazing tools. All right? We got live loops, and this technology is absolutely stunning. I'm so elated about it. I feel like I'm starting to get comfortable now, and I want to show you guys how to really make this work. So at the top here, let me get back in. I've got a basic intro. If you want to find out how I created, I did this all on the spot. Okay, I literally went through every single thing. How did I get to this part, and how did I add this? So watch session 1, watch session 2, and you'll be able to catch up. But for now, I wanted to create a memorable and interesting intro. Why? Because that's how you hook people. Now, this is a song I'm gonna go ahead and purpose for music licensing. That's a big part of my business. I'm also a producer. I have clients, but a big part of what I do right now is music licensing. I find it a very viable field. It's like the entry level is fairly easy to get into, and if you want to start monetizing your music, it's really I wouldn't say easy, but it's very simple. I have a proven system that has helped many people all across the world, not just the city, but the world. I've got courses that I've been selling, been an active contributor to creative people. That's been my latest high. It keeps me going. It gets me up in the morning. I have one of my students just literally had a full spread in the Switzerland, or is it? Was it Switzerland? I was confused Switzerland and the other one. But anyway, in her local newspaper, like, had this whole spread, and she's like, gave me a shout out, and it was fantastic to see. Hey, this is working. I'm able to help people. I love it. People are getting paid. People are advancing their careers forward. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, so we've got this interesting intro, and it goes like this. All right, and then from there, be aware that this intro is a little bit off. The drums are not really in sync, but it certainly is interesting, right? It kind of catches your ear, and let's go. Now, something I want to point out here is that this specific live loop right here, the one colored burgundy, track number 3, we named it effects. I'm going to go ahead and zoom on it. You can see that it doesn't have the circular shape that the others do, and that's simply because it's not looped. In other words, if I click on it and I make sure that the cell is in key focus and I hit L, you can see that now this is a circular illustration, right? Animation. But if I click L again, now it's not looped, and so it's just a one shot, just plays one time over. And so now when you hear it in solo, check it out. So by itself, this is not really impressive, doesn't really do anything, but it's the collection, right? It's all the ideas put together that really make this work. So don't overly concern yourself with like trying to be perfect and trying to produce the perfect song and like having everything exactly where it needs to be. Now, I'm not saying don't be, I'm not saying to be sloppy. Please fix clicks, pops, fix any clipping that may be going on, any plosives that may be going on, but it's, there's a fine line between like being a perfectionist and having everything figured out, and then there's a fine line between being a creative and being in a flow state, being in a peak performance state, being able to finish your song, being able to finish the EP, being able to finish your client song, being able to be in a zone and move yourself forward in such a way where you feel momentum, you feel like you're actually getting it done. That's what I want for you. All right, so we play this back, it sounds fantastic, and now I want to bring it up a notch. How do I do that? Well, you could do it with the melody. This is like, that boom bap hip hop thing, and so there's no need to kind of overdo it with all the various harmonies or melodies. I mean, you could, I'm just saying, it's not a bad idea to keep it lo-fi, keep it chill. And so what I did was I just changed the hi-hat pattern. We went from this, pretty simple, and then we went to, I'm using my arrow keys to hit return to that. What's up, Raul? How's it going, man? Nice to see you. Nice to hear from you. If you got any questions, hit me up. So you can see that basically we made a progression, or we evolved kind of from one section to the other. And so here in scene number 2, there's 2 different ways to trigger. You can, well, 3 technically, but you can click on the scene trigger, or using the mouse or the keypad anyhow, you can go ahead and use the arrow keys and then just hit return. So let's try that out. So we go from this idea to okay, so there I had an option. What do I do next? It's up to you, right? You can build it bigger. A lot of it depends on where you're sending the song to. Is it a kind of traditional pop format song, or is it something you're trying to sell to somebody? Is it something on a beat store? Just depends on what you want to do. But the point is right here on the next section, I decided to break it down, but only to build it back up. So here's my breakdown. And by the way, there's a lot of detail in here that we're not even looking at right now. For example, track number 2, the horns, I'm talking about the blue cell that you're currently looking at. I spent a lot of time really gain staging this correctly. If I go over to the cell inspector, let me zoom in for you lovely people here. See where it says cell? Let me make sure I think you guys are looking at that. Yeah, cool. In fact, here, let me get out of the shot here. Sweet. All right, cool. So right here where it says cell inspector, I went ahead and changed the gain staging because I needed it to fit. That there has to be this relationship where when I go from scene to scene to scene, from the verse to the intro to the breakdown, from the drop to the post-chorus to the hook, that everything feels natural. And if you don't have that, and your listener kind of can see behind the magic trick, can see behind the veil, the illusion, then you're losing the game. It's super important to be able to recognize that this is a game that we're playing. And like any game that you may have grown up with, super important to not be attached to the outcome, because sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're not. Now, the good part is the longer that you produce music, the longer that you compose music, the longer that you invest yourself in this game, in this craft that you love so much, the closer that you're going to be. And then guess what? Guess what? It will start to favor you. It will start to choose you. So what am I talking about? Literally, I'm not kidding here. Music will start to pull you and take you somewhere. You know that feeling that you want to make it? There's a reason. You're trying to make it somewhere, and so you need to let music dictate where that journey is going to go. Don't be attached to the outcome and how it turns out. Be committed, be disciplined, put your entire heart into it, put all your will, all your might. Show me what you got. Don't just go in halfway. Show me who you really are and what you got. Show me what you're made of, and then the music will turn out. But you got to dedicate and commit first. So here's my breakdown. Now listen to this transition though, okay? I'm going from A section, I call it hype. It just means like I'm adding a couple elements. So I've got the intro, I've got the A section, I've got the A section with, a couple of more elements or hype. In this case, the only other element from what I remember is this hi-hat that has, a bit more of that trap feel using the step sequencer. So yeah, that's that. And then we got the break. So listen to the transition. Yeah, here we go. All right, cool. And again, if you're interested in how did he make that melody and how did he make that breakdown, and this is all covered, all for free, all for the love of the game. I want to make sure you guys succeed. I want to make sure you guys have somebody by your corner. All right, we're right there, all of us at hfmusicacademy.com. We're like rooting for you. Like, man, we just want to see them win. Like, what's going to happen next? Who's going to achieve their goals? Who's going to get paid? This is kind of what we live for. This is what we dream about, making sure that you guys have all the information, have all the resources that you need to get on top. So this is cool. This is what I would consider to be the apex of this. In other words, we ain't getting any higher. I mean, you might want to push it a little bit more. You might want to crush it down and, throw in 100 more ideas. But in all fairness, it sounds hot. It sounds good. I'm happy. It achieves the musical purpose. I've achieved my musical vision of creating, a boom bap, simple track that bumps and slaps. And so I'm good. Here we have a kind of breakdown that I'll utilize at the ending, and I'll play the whole thing. But the goal, and bear in mind, right now I'm about to take all of this into the tracks area in Logic, which is option N, which is here. This is kind of the traditional standard format, right? Option L brings you back into the live loops grid. I want to show people how to use this. I believe that I know this better than anybody in the world right now. Not kidding you guys. I believe that I can help. I believe that I can contribute. This is why I've created a course. If you want to check that out, it will be in the description of the video as soon as we get that out. But if you don't have the right information, I'm telling you, you're going to go in circles. So we need the right information, because information changes situations. All right. So here's the breakdown. And then bear in mind, I'm going to kind of step by step kind of break it down. So here's the whole thing. And actually, you know what? I might do it the other way around. I'm going to go like this. Yeah, and I'll break it down that way. So you see what I'm doing, right? I'm triggering a series of cells called a scene, and then I'm stopping the playback of certain cells, right? And the possibilities are innumerable. I mean, you can do so much in this amazing alternate workspace that Logic has really given us for free. 10.5, such an incredible update. And yeah, I can't wait to talk about more, guys. Step sequencer, remix effects, all sorts of stuff. So let's go ahead and get this information over to the other side, right? And then once we get it to the other side, then I'm going to talk about kind of mastering it and getting it to kind of performance or streaming standards. And I think that'd be a good way to go about it today. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. I do have to, again, I'm reviewing this mic today. So quick shout out to Tissy, really nice microphone. Look for that on the channel. And then I got to finish a song for a client. So yeah, and I've been here, guys. I've been here since 10, maybe even a little bit earlier, just working, putting in the work, mastering. I love it. I'm so grateful. I remember when I wasn't doing this. And so, people were like, hey, why do you do this? Why do you work so much? It's like, I love this. I need this. I don't think you guys get it. I need it. I need to be around it. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man. I wasn't, in the music for 2 days, and I just felt like I was losing my mind. So, if you're working a 12-hour shift, if you're working a 16-hour shift, let me tell you, I've been there. I completely get it. And in fact, today I was having a conversation with somebody. He called me and wanted to talk about his action plan. And so there are various people that I help, I consult. And, we looked at his schedule and we looked at how he was going to be able to turn this around for himself. And there was a big flaw kind of in the system that he had currently had set up. And the chink in the armor was that from basically 10 a.m. to about 9 p.m., 8 p.m., he was working on a very laborious, physically demanding job. And so I was explaining to him that, you come home after that and then he still, works out. And I was explaining to him that, in life, it's not always about letting go of the bad habits. It's not always like some of the obvious things like, hey, I can't eat 55 donuts, or like I can't watch, 600 hours of Netflix, like, and I can't binge watch like every show I've ever wanted to watch and completely let go of all my responsibilities and my obligations and my dreams and my aspirations and, everything I want to do in this lifetime, right? But I was explaining that, if you're all physical and then you're physical again after you've been physical for 12, 14 hours, how do you expect to have anything left? I mean, there's nothing left to give. And I was explaining that, in life, in music, it's not just that we got to let go of the bad stuff, but sometimes, and as paradoxical as this may sound, but sometimes you got to let go of the good stuff as well. That's no longer serving your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, your new endeavors. In other words, even though he was working out, and it is good for you, obviously, it no longer, in my opinion, no longer serves the purpose. It no longer is getting him to where he wants to be. And so sometimes you're going to have to let go of good things as well. Like, for example, sometimes you just want to hang out, just watch a basketball game or something, right? That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, if it's not getting to you, it's not getting you where you want to be. It's not making a difference. It's not making an impact. It's not pushing you any further. Then, you really have to kind of think about that and make an assessment. Like, is this gonna help, or is this actually just taking away? So anyhow, let's chew on that and let's record this stuff into live loops. Again, if you guys have any questions for me, go ahead and hit me up. My name is Eddie Gray. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Super excited to be here. You guys have no idea the journey, the mountains that I've had to climb. Just here for you. I'm here for you. So I'm going to go ahead and get into Logic here. And I'm going to hit Option B. All right. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me the hybrid workflow. I'm looking at both the live loops grid and I'm looking at the tracks area. All right. Hey, what's up, Jaden? Yep. Appreciate the message. Appreciate the love. Man, we're here for you. And we really do appreciate the comments and the questions. We're here for you guys. So appreciate you guys. All right, so let me get this information over to the tracks area. And so how we're going to do that And I'm going to go ahead and stop the playhead. Why is it always moving? Because that's the relationship that Live Loops has with the playhead. For more info on that, for more details, I covered it in session 2 of this series. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and stop the playback. I'm going to hit spacebar. You can also hit the icon up here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this button right here. Key command is Control P for performance recording. Now this icon is red. I'm going to go ahead and hit I. And now we're looking at the hybrid workflow. You got to love it. They took a concept from Ableton. Logic took this great Live Loops feature and expanded on it. It's really, really remarkable. And so then now that this is ready to record, we have to tell Logic, hey, we're ready to record. So I'm going to disable the cycle region. Again, you can hit C, or you can click on the musical time ruler. And so then now I'm going to hit record, and all the information that I play back here inside of the Live Loops will transfer over into the tracks area. All right. Makes sense? If you have any questions, again, hit me up and I'll be happy to answer. All right, let's go. I'm going to hit record. All right, live performance time. You ready? Here we go. Right. Yeah. All right. So that's how you do it. So then now we've essentially taken all the information. Let me go ahead and stop playback. And you can see that it's all been transferred. There's a couple hiccups in there. We're going to fix those, mostly due to the way that I performed the sequences. Like sometimes it was a little too early or too late. And again, this is all information I cover in learning Live Loops. And so most of that can be rectified if you have the appropriate quantized start indicator selected. In most cases, if you use one bar or even a half note, you guys are covered. It's all just going to work. It's going to feel good. But again, there's sometimes situations, I'm not sure if you saw what I was doing there, but at one point in the song, I changed into a quarter note quantized start. And so what happens there is that when I sequence, when I hit back the scene trigger, it plays back at a faster rate. All right, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you will, trust me. And I've already systematized this. You got to remember, I've developed the entire Logic curriculum for Learnquest. All right, this is an Apple training provider. I literally created from A to Z, top to bottom, their entire Logic curriculum. And so when it was time to learn live loops in 10.5, I really made it an effort to systematize it in the same way that I systematized the curriculum. I made sure that this was strong and solid and foolproof in a way where it didn't really matter if you knew the technology or not. Like, you know, in other words, if you came from Ableton or not, you could learn it in a heartbeat. And all the people that I study with and that I consult, they all get it now. They're all rolling with it. So that's cool. That works. I'm going to go ahead and shift my attention over to the tracks area. So I'm going to hit Option N. And so you'll notice that this is all still dimmed out. And so you're wondering, hey, is there a key command? What do I do? I'm not sure what to do. So right here, if I zoom in, this is called the track activation button. And currently, the focus is not in the tracks area, but in the live loop screen. So if I hit that button right there, all right, cool. All the attention has been shifted over, and we are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and try and fix some of the stuff that I heard. It wasn't much, I will say that. And in order to tackle this, I'm going to utilize a function that I love. Again, a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of people do not get into it, but it's called shuffle mode, and it's really amazing. All right, let me show you why. So keep this in the back of your head. I have this thing called shuffle mode. Okay, all right, and then here in my snap to grid or snap mode, I'm going to select beat. All right, I might shift over to division, but here I am. All right, and the goal is to have this obviously play out in sequences of 4 and basically like equidistant or equivalent bars, beats. Just want to make sure that it all sounds good and nothing sounds strange. So we're going to listen, and as soon as we need to fix something, I'm going to stop and describe to you what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. All right, so that right there is a perfect example. You can see that from bar 7 to bar 9, the sequence play here. Let me go ahead and highlight for you so this makes sense. It plays, but then like just randomly, it actually gives me like an extra beat right here. You guys see that? And so I don't need this section. And so what I'm going to do, again, I've selected beat, and I currently have my drag shuffle mode over on left. Now I'm going to use my secondary tool. You got 2 tools in Logic. Potentially you can have a third as well, but that's another conversation. And now we've got the primary cursor tool. We've got the secondary tool right here. Now I'm going to hold Command to access the marquee tool. The Swiss Army knife of Logic does so much, really incredible. You notice I created what's called a marquee selection. Now that I have a marquee selection, I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. And then everything that is over on the right-hand side will literally, you guessed it, shuffle left, and boom, we got what we need. All right, let's listen to it. All right, this I'm going to move over. I think I can salvage this. Just checking it out. Hold on. All right, so like this here, we don't really need it per se. So I might even just crush this. Let's see if this sounds any good. And let's hear what we have here. All right, so actually this sounds fantastic, except there was 5 beats. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't need 5. I just need 4. So I'm gonna go right here. And again, my drag mode is in what? Shuffle left. And so it's in shuffle left. And so what are we gonna do? We're going to shuffle left. Here we go. Boom. I hit delete. Everything's moved over. Let's check it out. Oh, Okay. So now look, this is really cool because this is kind of like the first time that we've encountered this little situation where this is called a happy accident. I wasn't planning on it, but it actually worked out in my favor. So we're going to take advantage of it. See, this is to me one of the best parts of this job, of this hobby, of this lifestyle, of this discipline, of this craft that we love so much and that we have given our lives to, right? And so let me bring you in on this little synchronistic happening that we like to call happy accidents. Let's go. All right. So there's a pause here that I wasn't planning, which I really like. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and capitalize on that. But on top of that, I want to do it with style. And so I'm going to select these. You'll notice that these kind of hollowed out or dimmed regions, they're actually just loops. How do I know? Well, number one, I've studied every single logic book in the market. But on top of that, I know because they're dimmed out. And if I hit L, you'll see that they're, just loops. And so another indication, in all fairness, is the region inspector. It says loop right there. All right, so I close that up. And so then now I'm going to turn these loops, or you could think of them like clones. They're just referencing the original region. And I'm going to hit Control L, and that will literally convert them into real regions, not reference regions per se, but actual regions. There's a difference between something referencing or cloning something, and there's a difference between it being an actual region that we can edit, that we can play with the parameters and such. And so here I'm going to create a little fade. Just make sure, right? Let's keep it pro, keep it tight. Here we go. All right, cool. And then I'm thinking, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be wonderful? Wouldn't it be amazing if I could take this idea and somehow just, make it work? I don't know, like maybe we pause and then play the guitar and then get back into it. I don't know, but let me listen to it. I'm either thinking it's going to play at bar 14, so like, I'm sorry, right here, all right? Or we get a little pause and then it comes in. I don't know, let's listen. All right, I need some context. Let me start at bar 12. All right. I've opted to do this instead. Okay, so I'm going to take all of this. All right, and then there's no right or wrong way, obviously, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and try this out. hasn't stopped, just been flowing and flowing and flowing. And so this song is pretty much done. Believe it or not, I'm actually going to ship this to a publisher as is. I think it sounds good enough. I may add, a couple little trinkets, some decorations on the Christmas tree, but for the most part, man, this sounds really good to me. Let's check out this ending, and then we'll talk about limiting. All right, here we go. Actually, man, I really like that breakdown. So I'm going to bounce this to audio. This is just kind of, maybe if I want it later kind of thing. And so when we look at the dialog window, Control B was the key command to bounce region in place. I'm going to go into source and I'm going to leave. I don't want to mute it. This is just something extra. This is just fodder. This is just material that I can use later. Yeah. And so I'm going to put idea right here. All right. This is flexible, guys. Right? This is whatever you want it to be, however you want it to be. And so just to save myself, any confusion, I'm going to put this at the very bottom, and then I'm also going to mute it. All right. How do you mute something? You can use the mute tool, or you can hit Control M, and then that solves that. So I'm going to click the background of the workspace to refocus my zoom, refocus my perspective, refocus my session, and then I'm going to hit Option N, and then we're back in it. And I may use this, I may not, but as of now, it's not playing, so it's not affecting me anyway. So let me just hear this outro and see if it is working. I think this would be more effective if I trim this, create a nice fade here. Check it out. Yeah, I'm into that. I am into that. I'll take it. All right, so that's a nice ending to me. Okay, and then again, the possibility of adding this idea, this breakdown, if you want to call it, might be better to name that appropriately. And so I'm going to take one final listen, and then we'll see, does this fit? If you have any questions for me, my name is Eddie Gray. Check me out. If you want a free course on us, this is just a service that we're giving. Go ahead and check out support at hfmusicacademy.com. You can email them and you can just request your free course on how to maximize your desktop and laptop's performance. The course currently has over 3,700 downloads, no strings attached. You just get a course, and that is that. All right, so let's take a listen, kind of keep it in the back of our heads, and we'll go from there. Shouldn't be. All right, cool. So let's see here. Got a comment from Mr. Tyler Ferris. Your voice is muted. I hope not, because I've been doing this cast for an hour. I can hear myself. Please confirm if this is the case for you. Tyler Ferris, Sorry about that, mate. I hopefully hopefully it's not muted. Everything on my side is showing me that it's good, but yeah, maybe somebody else can confirm that. But yeah, that's the track, guys. Sounds pretty good. I didn't see a room for or a purpose for this idea, man, and kind of wish I had, to be honest, because I really like it. But such is life, so we have to kind of keep moving, keep the production going. I do hear some very minor things that I could do. For example, from bar 27 to 30, 31 rather, we could do something here, filter it out. It could sound rather interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And then we'll go ahead and limit this, and I can give you kind of my own personal philosophy on limiting something. So again, I'm selecting all the regions at hand, Control B. This time I do actually want to mute them. So we're going to mute them, and we're going to call this breakdown, and then I'll just in parentheses write filter, and we should be good there. All right, usually like to move this out of the way just to kind of give my eyes the assurance that this is kind of a new section. And so, I could see the text there. It's clear, it's easy. And let's add a filter. Now, I've been using this one for quite some time, Clean Sweep Pro by Plugin Alliance. They actually have a free version of this as well, but you can really play with this joystick and kind of maneuver it. We'll probably keep this really simple, but here, check out the transition and check out the contrast. Yeah, and I might open it up just a little bit right there at the very end. So I'm going to go ahead and go into latch automation. I have it set to Control Option Command L. And I'm going to go ahead and set the cutoff to a MIDI parameter. So let me hold Command L, and let me get this going. Okay, so I'm going to click on that right there. And then I'm going to turn this knob right here, and hopefully that does it. We'll see. Nah, it looks like it's not responding. Let me see. You know what? Let me just Command Z that real quick. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to do it manually then. So again, I'm in latch mode, and I'm going to start cutting off. Here we go. All right, good. Went ahead and added some width and some depth, and so now we have that recorded. And so it's time to finalize this track. Now, I've been mixing into the master. This is a very common practice inside of music licensing, to be able to work quickly, work efficiently, so you can get paid. It's a numbers game. I always tell the people in my world, hey, you guys want to make money doing it, you got to turn in 10 songs, you got to turn in 20 songs. You can't just do 2. You can't just do 1. The likelihood of it actually getting through the gate is one thing, and then the chance of it getting placed is quite another. And then after it gets placed, there's still executives, editors. I've been there, guys. I've been the head composer of several television shows. I've done consultations for television stations. Again, I've developed the curriculum for Learnquest. I've seen a lot. And so I want to be able to share that information with you guys. So again, I'm here every Monday and Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Central Time. If you want to take advantage of a free course that I developed, again, over 3,600 downloads to date, go ahead and email support@hfmusicacademy.com. So that being said, right now, as it stands, I have a limiter, the add limiter by Logic, the adaptive limiter, and then I have, let me make this a little bit smaller, change the view, so we'll just go 100%. Okay, cool. And then I have a maximizer, and this one's by Ozone, but it doesn't really matter which maximizer you have. And so Before we address this, I just want to make one thing really clear. There's a free plugin called OTT. Again, it would be a disservice not to tell you about this plugin. It's free, and it always helps, your song bump in such a way where it just slaps. And so notice the settings. I got something very conservative set up, 18%. I've taken the mid band, and this is a multi-band compressor. To be honest, I don't even use it like that. I just turn it on and I just let it do its thing because it usually just makes songs better. So think of it as a make sound better plugin. And so anyway, I want to make sure you guys get that free resource. And we got a limiter, we have an adaptive limiter, and then we have a maximizer. And so I just want to go ahead and distinguish and talk about why and what this is. So let me bring you guys in right here. All right, cool. So again, limiter here, adaptive limiter here, and then a maximizer here. Oh, and then here's OTT. I didn't realize I didn't have you guys on the screen. So here's OTT. Here are my settings, really conservative, mid band, just have it down a little bit, 18%. And boy, does it make a difference. Check it out on your tracks and you guys will see exactly what I mean. So then we got a limiter, we got the adaptive limiter. I'm gonna go ahead and type in adaptive limiter, insert inside of the help tag up here. And I want to show you what the difference is, because a limiter is not necessarily a good thing to have on a master track. You want to have an adaptive limiter or a maximizer. And so we're going to talk about these things. We're going to make some distinctions. Let me go ahead and zoom in. Yeah, 1 second. Here we go. An adaptive limiter is a versatile tool for controlling the perceived loudness, so for mastering. It works by rounding and smoothing peaks, which is what you want when you're mastering, producing an effect similar to an analog amplifier being driven hard. Like an amplifier can slightly color the sound, which is what you want, trust me. You can use adaptive limiter to achieve maximum gain without introducing unwanted distortion and clipping, which can occur when the signal exceeds 0 decibels full scale. The adaptive limiter is typically used on the final mix, where it can be placed after a compressor, such as a multipressor. So bear in mind, they're telling you, hey, it's probably a good idea to put this after the compressor. It should be the final component inside of the mastering stage, okay? And before the final gain control, resulting in a mix of maximum loudness. Adaptive limiter can produce a louder sounding mix that can be achieved by normalizing the signal. So this may add latency when the look ahead parameter is active, so just keep that in mind. The effect is typically used for mixing and mastering previously recorded tracks, not while recording. Do not do it while you're recording. Of course, I've broken that rule. Bypass the adaptive limiter while recording. All right, so this one is specifically meant for mastering, whereas the limiter per se, let me see if I could find that in here, has a different purpose. It's not really meant for mastering. The limiter works like a compressor. In fact, it is a compressor, but with one important difference. Where a compressor proportionally reduces the signal when it exceeds the threshold, a limiter reduces any peak above the threshold to the threshold level. So basically, it's just putting a roof or a threshold on something. It's just pushing it down, okay? And that's the difference between a compressor and a limiter. Limiter is a hard stop, okay? It's used primarily when mastering. Typically, you apply the limiter as the very last process in the mastering signal chain. Limiter is designed in such a way that it's set to 0 decibels gain and 0 decibel output level. It has no effect on a normalized signal. If the signal clips, the limiter reduces the level before clipping can occur. The limiter cannot, however, fix audio that is clipped during recording. Yeah. And so this kind of has a different purpose altogether. You got to try for yourself to really kind of hear it, but basically they serve two different functions. This one's going to, be more flexible. It's going to treat your audio in a much more kind of, malleable, loose way. So here we've got the limiter. Let me go ahead and enable the adaptive limiter, and let's see what kind of results this yields. And we will go from there. 1 sec. Yeah, so all I'm hearing is that this one's just rounder and nicer, and it makes a little bit more sense in the mastering scenario. Okay, all right, so go ahead and try that out for yourself. We're talking about mastering your song. You want to use an adaptive limiter. If you don't know how to use it, you want to set an out ceiling. There's various arguments of what do I set up? How do I set it up? My recommendation for you right now is to go ahead and set it to negative 0.7 to negative 2. I'm usually in the negative 0.7 to negative 1. I like my stuff loud, not obnoxiously loud, but loud enough. And then you basically push up the gain knob until you get some gain reduction. How much? Negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, somewhere around there. Negative 3, ideal. All right, so let's listen to my track here and let's see where we are. So that sounds pretty good to me. And then finally, you've got a maximizer. Now, a maximizer is a little bit different. And I will explain why in a second. I'm going to look for, I've got this book here, handy notebook, and I usually keep tabs on different aspects of production. You know, I mean, there's a lot to remember, team. So here it is right here. So it says, a limiter prevents peaks from going, here, let me bring you guys in here. All right, so a limiter prevents peaks from going past its ceiling, while a maximizer increases the volume of a song until it hits the ceiling, and then it starts becoming limited. So there's two different things, okay? You've got a limiter, which basically prevents the peaks from going past the ceiling. Remember I showed you the out ceiling knob, okay? While a maximizer increases the volume of a song until it hits the ceiling. So it's literally increasing it until it gets to that ceiling, and then it starts limiting after that. So there's a difference between the two, and it's up to you, you know, what you want to do, what you want to use. But let me go ahead and just show you what that would sound like. Here we go. The one thing I will say before we cut it here is this maximizer is pretty special, and I'm liking the way it sounds. Sounds a little bit nicer and rounder. But this one right here is particularly special, and here's why. You can actually learn your own threshold. It's pretty nuts. So like, let's say you want to stream on Spotify, or you have a publisher who wants to, have your song rendered at, negative 14 LUFS or whatever it is. You can go ahead and literally have it learn a threshold. So it's an intelligent maximizer that can learn a threshold for you. So let's go ahead and just target that. Let me set the threshold as, let's go negative 10 LUFS. Let's see how loud this gets, because sometimes this thing can bump. So it's on, it's ready. Let's check it out. So bear in mind, it literally just made a bunch of decisions for me right there, right? I didn't do much, and it sounds a lot better. Here's before. All right, so that's coming in pretty hot, and so with my gain plugin at the beginning of the chain, I'm just going to pull back a little bit just to make sure this doesn't, get out of control. And at the end of the process, you can go ahead and insert a multimeter and just check your analytics, check your stats. Where am I? Where's the RMS? Where's the LUFS? So let me get into that here. All right, let's check it out. Fantastic. Everything looks good. Everything sounds good. Super stoked about the just the overall impression of the track. Let me set the ceiling to 1, and it's pretty much ready to go at this point. we'll start closing up here, but you could do small things at the end of the process. You can start adding effects to a song and get it to vibe a little bit more. For example, you got the remix effects here, and it's recommended to put it after the limiter or the maximizer. Okay, and so right now I'll just show you a couple of little things you could do, and that could make a difference. Make your song sound a lot more interesting, and get your listeners to kind of perk up and go, oh, what's going on there, right? So here, check this out. All right, so during that transition, I'm going to hit the cutoff. So I've got this on the stereo output. I'm going to turn on latch. Here we go. All right, let's see if that cut off on time. Okay, so actually that sounded really good, except it just didn't turn off on time. And so we're just going to move this over. Okay, you see what I'm doing? I'm just moving the remix effect over to bar. I'm hitting V to take that off for a second. Bar 15. So like right there would be perfect. Let's check it out. All right, and then again, just take your time and make sure this is kind of what you want. So you might need to move it, back a little bit, move it forward a little bit. All right, cool. Hey, thank you for the great comment, Mr. Julian Hartwell Music. I actually know you. I'm following you, man. Yeah. I see you, man. I totally see what you're up to. Keep doing what you're doing. First time tuning into one of these lives and already super helpful. Hey, this is what I'm here for. Thank you guys very much. Again, it was 7 years of climbing up a mountain, and it just feels really good to be able to just give and give and give. This is the information that I needed when I first started, so I'm just here giving it back. And what's up to Mr. Goyard Belt? Yep, much love, much respect. Thank you guys very much, man. It means the world to me. I'm going to keep these up. I got a lot going on. Like I said, I'm building a new studio. Lots of different things going on, but much appreciated. It makes it all worth it when I see those comments, when I see the repost, when I check out the messages on Insta. All we ask is just one thing. All right, I don't need anything from you guys. All right, I've had the absolute honor of being able to achieve my dreams. I got a beautiful family, great friends, great squad. All I ask is that you help us out just by sending this to somebody else, another producer, another composer. If you feel like they could benefit, if it's something where they're not in the right space, they're not in the right mindset, don't send it. All right, but we're looking for very specific people to help, people that are ready to pop like a bubble. They're right there. They just need that extra little push. They just need that extra little motivation. Let me tell you guys, I am on this every day. I breathe this. I live it. I bleed it. So I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the great comments, all the love. I respect you so much. You have no idea the journey that you're on, the mountain that you're about to climb. I am your cheerleader, man. I'm right here for you guys so you guys could win. So, all right, I'm going to cut here. Yeah, again, all I ask, if you could just post on social media, like the channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and more content coming soon. We've got a bunch of great videos lined up that are currently in pre-production. And again, look out for this great tutorial and review of the Tissy microphone that I got coming up next. And with that, I wish you guys a phenomenal week. I will see you Monday, Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Central Time for In the Mix with Eddie Gray. Keep learning, keep growing, keep evolving, keep striving, keep collaborating, and remember to keep your frequency high. All right, guys, we'll see you guys later. Take good care. Here we go.